Hey everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it, and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode. I am thrilled that you're here. Hey, in this episode, I want to break down one of the biggest mistakes or missteps that I see people make when they are moving their services into a scalable delivery model and offering a course, a membership, a program. A lot of times people come in to kind of trying to figure out how to package what they're doing, and they just put in a bunch of topics and cram their program or their delivery offer with lots and lots of information around various topics that they're interested in. This is really a traditional sort of school approach, and so it's common that's the way that people look at how do I create content that helps a customer really have value in what you're providing. And this is the school model, right? I am going to impart knowledge and information to you as the student, and then you're going to take that knowledge and information and apply it to whatever it is that you want to apply it to. But the education model is really we're going to give you the information, we're going to give you the knowledge, we're going to give you the tools, and then you need to go out into the world however you want to and apply it. And the difference is that when you are creating a solution that matches your customer's need, there's a different approach that needs to happen in order for you to grow and scale. In our case, to infinitely grow and scale. And that is to look at the problem that you're creating or solving a little bit differently than giving topics to people. We start with an authority model, which is okay, so here are the kind of the core pillars of what I believe is to be true that your ideal customer needs in order to solve the problem that they're trying to solve. So you may have kind of buckets or main phases or main pillars of okay, here's my ideal customer, here's the problem that they have, here's the result that they're trying to get. So the buckets are meant to get them from point A to point B. Now, most of the time people are okay, I have this sort of topic collection and this topic collection and this topic collection, and if I just put enough pieces of the puzzle for each of the topics, then eventually my client will go from point A to point B, and when they get to point B, they'll be able to apply all the stuff that I've taught them into their business model. And so the first part of that is great, where you're chunking the phases or the pillars of your approach. I help this person to do this thing. That's great. That's a great start. That's a lot of times where people end though. And that's the sticky part that leads to your customers not staying, your customers not participating, and honestly, not getting results, right? So there's a different way to look at how do you come in and help them sort of tackle the problem that they have to get to the results. And that is using the same phases or pillars that are your approach and creating a journey from the problem to the solution or the result for that particular customer. The question becomes what do they need to know in order to go down the trail, but what do they need to be able to do to get from one step to the next along the path. And that small shift will completely transform your business. It will transform how your customers show up. It'll transform how you show up, and you're able to offer a focused path that helps people go from point A to point B as fast as possible. And then it's also going to allow your customers to be able to become successful as they're going through the process, and not just like hoping that they can apply it later. Hopefully you see that by changing just this small piece of the puzzle, you are able to completely transform your business. So how do we do that? You're coming up with your authority model, which is kind of the 3 big phases or pillars or buckets of like, how do you help somebody do whatever it is that they want to do, what the result is that they're trying to get to. And then within those are typically sort of some steps or more specific pieces that you're going to give them so that they can get to the next phase or the next pillar, so that you can get them to the next phase and the next pillar. So regardless of how many you have, the goal is to think about it like a journey. The customer is starting at point A. They're starting with a problem, and their goal is to take the path that will get them from that problem to that result that they're looking for. So when you think about that as an actionable path that somebody's walking on, I'm driving from Minneapolis to California, I'm going on specific roads to get there, right? I'm not just like taking random side streets, hoping that I'm going to end up in California if I'm in Minnesota. Same concept. But if you think about it, like all those side streets that you would take if you were just going to meander from Minneapolis to California are like those videos that you're creating that are just topics that you're putting in a video vault, or you're putting in like, oh, hey, this may be really valuable for you to have as a topic so that you can hear what this insight is or whatever. Like that's totally different than how do you help them take the superhighway from point A to point B and get there as fast as possible? Because, I mean, let's be honest. If you had all the time in the world, you would just go out to YouTube or Google or all of the things and just like hunt and peck and try and figure out the answer to your question, versus like paying somebody to help you who's been there, who has the tools and resources to help you and has the fastest path that you can follow to go from point A to point B. Your job is to provide them that fast path. And the way that you do that is by really being aware of how you are keeping them on the path, which means you have to stay focused, which means you can't meander off of the path. And so when you think about it as an action-oriented activity, it's what do they need to do on each step in order to get to the next step. When you are defining that step in the process, start with an action verb. Well, what's the thing that they have to do that will give them the semblance of like reaching that milestone or that ending point in that step that brings them to the next one. And that's how you create your curriculum, your materials, whatever you want to call it, within your signature offer that you are giving to your customers. So when you have one customer, when you can identify and articulate their problem, when you can make that result really measurable that they're looking for, then you can create that path in between. And the work that you're doing, your body of work, is that path in between the problem to the solution that that person is looking for. And how do you scale that? Well, you have different paths that they're going to be going down as they progress forward in whatever it is that they're trying to do. Think about it as like when you're a beginner versus when you're kind of intermediate versus an advanced or master at your craft, right? There are different paths that people take to get from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And so that's how you continue the conversation with your customers beyond that initial scalable experience that you give them. But it's not by doing random other offers. It's not by creating tons and tons of video and content and different things that you think they may want or they may be nice to have for them to be able to learn extra things. It's really how do you solve that person's problem as fast as possible so they can move forward. That is what people are hiring you for, and that is what you will build an entire business around. And then the fun becomes in like, how do you get them more actively engaged? How do you help them get results? How do you celebrate the results that they're getting? How do you help them move through obstacles and hurdles that they're going to have along the path? Not how do you reteach it? How do you recreate that path? How do you recreate the steps that go along in that path? It's about being able to clearly become the expert or authority in how you help somebody go from point A to point B. When you are in the middle of trying to figure out how to create your thing, take a step back, make sure that you're creating a path for your customers and not just a repository of topics. There's nothing more frustrating for your customer than being given something that wastes their time. Nobody wants that. Nobody has time to waste. And just one more video because you have a topic that you're interested in is not helpful for your customers. Save that for your podcast, save that for a blog post or a social media post, because those are places where you may catch somebody who wants to learn that particular slice. And then they're like, oh, well, that's interesting. I think that may be part of what I'm looking for that will help me go from my problem to my result. But it's not like the level of focus that you can have in your business and the level of freedom that you get when you focus is what changes the game. There's an old sort of myth out there that quantity is what attracts people to somebody's offer, and it's actually quality. It's actually being able to do less. People don't like to do more for the same result that they are hoping to get, right? So I mean, think about if you had to go to the gym and you were working with a trainer and they're like, well, you can lose 10 pounds just by doing this one thing, or you can lose 10 pounds by doing 40 things. Which one do you want to do? Somebody is not normally going to choose the 40 things if there's just one thing that will help them achieve their goal. So think about that as you are coming up with what you're teaching, what you're putting in your membership, into your signature programs, or whatever it is that you're trying to package. You're packaging that path. You're not packaging information or topics or content. So hopefully this serves you. Again, when I am auditing businesses and helping them go from kind of that stagnant growth to scalable growth, this is one of the biggest things that I see people doing is they're wasting time. They need to be just focused on how do they make that path as simple as possible. A lot of times I'll say cut out 80% of your content that you have in whatever solution that you have. And at first people just completely panic because they've spent so much time and energy creating just constant videos, constant materials, constant tools, constant things. And what they've done is they've just made it too complicated for themselves and for their customers. So by just getting down to that essential path, that helps you focus your business and it helps you help your customers get to the result without all of the extra distraction that they already have. Use this, try it out, let me know what you think. If you're interested in more content like this, that is what we are doing every single week on the podcast. So I encourage you to subscribe to the podcast or jump on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And we will serve up more content like this for you around how do you start to grow and scale a business that helps you without maxing out your time.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.